You're listening to Frankie C Sports on Northeast Streaming Sports.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Frankie C Sports here on another beautiful Saturday. Just a little couple things we're going to get into tonight. I have a special guest returning for a second time, Darnell, the Don Clarke. He will be in here tonight to talk about his Green Bay Packers as they get ready to face off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in tomorrow's NFC Championship matchup. That game is at 3:05 on Fox Eastern Time. We got a couple things. On my Saturday shows, I'm now going to start calling it Football News with Frankie Cruz. It's something new that I'm going to start doing. I am now streaming live on my Facebook page, Frankie C Sports, also presented by Northeast Streaming Sports. And I am also live on YouTube, so now you can go to my YouTube page and subscribe at Frankie C Sports as well. So on Saturdays we're gonna start doing a thing called Football News with Frankie Cruz, and when football season is over, we will switch that up to Basketball News with Frankie Cruz and start talking about basketball. A couple of things just to get to. Like I said, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are facing off against the Green Bay Packers tomorrow. Then followed by that is the Buffalo Bills and your Kansas City Chiefs. This weekend is a wonderful matchup. You got, Battle of the Young Bucks and what's this? Oh, sorry, hold on. My boy Ramon. We live, baby. Yeah, we live. This Sunday, like I said, we got a battle of the 12 and we got a battle of the Young Bucks as Josh Allen go up against Patrick Mahomes to see who will go on to the Super Bowl and face, in my opinion, two of the greatest quarterbacks to actually play the league, and Aaron Rodgers and both Tom Brady. So it's going to be a great Super Bowl because, it's a Super Bowl where we get to see a young quarterback going up against one of the greats and one of the old quarterbacks. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my special guest for today. He's returning for his second time repping his Green Bay Packers. Let's bring him on, my boy Darnell, D-Don.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Don?
You already know, Frank. Thanks for having me again. You know I got it.
Of course, brother. You already know, man. Your team is in the NFC Championship game, and I wanna get your reaction on how you think your team is gonna do tomorrow, brother.
Oh yeah, I got numbers. I got numbers.
I know that. So, matter of fact, with the first segment, before we even get to anything, the first thing I want to talk about is special, and it's called the Battle of the 12. Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. This is one of the greatest that I've loved to see. And in my opinion, obviously, Tom Brady is better than Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl wise, playoff wise, everything like that. Aaron Rodgers got the numbers these past couple years just because, it's Aaron Rodgers and the Patriots where Tom Brady hasn't been doing really good. And now he's looking like the Tom Brady that he used to now that he's got weapons and stuff like that with the Bucs. So, this is going to be a great matchup to see with Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. And I just want to get your perspective on the Battle of the 12s, brother.
Yeah, you already know I was there to witness one of them battles. Unfortunately for me, it was a loss. But I think this is a lot more different than the battles they've already had. One NFC divisional round here. Got a lot on the line. Again, next week, the next game after would be the Super Bowl, which will be hosted in Tampa, which means a lot for the Buccaneers. First team to ever go to the Super Bowl hosting a home game if they win, which I don't think they are because I'm in favor of the Packers, and my boy Aaron Rodgers is performing phenomenally the way he should be. As far as his year going, it is one of his best years, if not the best year he's had. Let's see. Do we want to talk numbers yet?
He is top candidate for the MVP this year.
He's the MVP.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is obviously the number one guy. In the beginning of the year, it was talk between Russell Wilson and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, but everybody fell off of that to me. And honestly, I just feel like it's Aaron Rodgers. And if somebody's even closer to Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills quarterback and Josh Allen. I feel that's close enough to winning the MVP this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going. I think the teams and the quarterbacks correspond to how their ranks are. I'm gonna say Rodgers number one, Mahomes. Unfortunately, it's Jones and then Brady. I'd say Brady above them too, but the numbers are saying something else. His history will say he's either number one or second, but the numbers this year will put him at fourth. And I think that corresponds with the teams as well as far as their rankings go and where I think the actual picture is going to reside on for the Super Bowl.
Okay. With the first news on the NFC Championship game, Antonio Brown is inactive for the NFC Championship game. He will not be playing with the Buccaneers. So he suffered an injury last week, and
knee injury
where they played New Orleans. Yeah, he had an injury, so he's going to be out against the NFC Championship game. So that's a big plus for you guys. But don't forget, they still got a lot of big name receivers and stuff like that, and Chris Godwin.
Yeah, well, he might be out too. Yeah, he has a hip injury and a quad injury. Mike Evans also has a knee injury. And Ronald Jones is suffering from a quad and finger injury. Only one I see not making the game, though, is Antonio Brown. But the other ones are noted, and I think they're a day-by-day kind of thing, whether they're going to play or not.
Yeah, I see that they're most likely going to play. It's the NFC Championship game, and it's the first time the Bucs have been in this position since, I think it's 2003. Or 2002, the 2002-2003 season where they actually won it with John Gruden, I believe,
and Warren Sapp. Everybody forgets about him. That was the key. People talk defensive players. That's a defensive player for you.
Yep. So I believe that everybody, yes, with all the injuries, they're obviously gonna fight to play, but at the end of it, we all know that they're going to play because it's a chance to go to the Super Bowl and actually become the first team in history to represent the Super Bowl in their home stadium. I'm pretty sure that all these injuries or all these injured players are gonna end up playing. The only person that's not gonna play and show up is Antonio Brown.
Yeah, stipulations like that. I don't care if I'm missing a whole leg. I'm gonna show up.
Exactly, and honestly, for you Saints fans, that's what happened with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas was injured throughout this entire season since week 2. He's been injured with an ankle injury. He's even had both ankles. Matter of fact, he even has a knee injury as well.
Michael Thomas. On the Saints. Right.
Yeah, on the Saints. And he does have to require surgery on both ankles. Just because he was fighting through the year, and he feels that this was Drew Brees last year, so he tried everything he can to be on that field and fight for Drew Brees to get him to the Super Bowl and for the New Orleans Saints. So he was really banged up, and that was the real reason why Drew Brees wasn't throwing to Michael Thomas as much, and that's the reason why he wasn't even catching as much receptions, is because of the ankle injuries and the knee injuries. And now the guy's got to go through double surgeries on both his ankles, and who knows if he's going to come back in the beginning of the year.
If he does come back, I think he deserves probably a renegotiation for a contract. He's a good guy. Maybe not because he missed so many games and he has to make up for them games next year or whatever. But if Breeze leaves, there's a breeze in the wind that Thomas might not stay. Well,
that is true.
You have to restructure a whole team, because once the team was around the person, it's hard to not get them around the person. You got to change your whole structure and change everything. So, between Taysom and who was that other guy? Winston is on there now too.
Yeah.
How can you build something around that that's already built for Breeze? But I don't know. I'm gonna stick to the Packers though.
All right, so with that, let's go on right to it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is facing off against the Green Bay Packers this Sunday at 3:05 on Fox. This is the first game of the championship weekend. The Packers are favored by 3.5 points. I'm going to predict that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win just because I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. I want to see Tom Brady make history in a lot of ways. This Sunday he can make histories in a lot of ways. Being the first quarterback to take a team to the Super Bowl at their own home stadium. Even becoming, if he goes to the Super Bowl, he can win it. If he goes to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, he can become the first quarterback and actually the only quarterback. Actually, let me scratch that. He's going to be the only player to have more rings than team. The only player in history to have the most rings than any team in NFL history. Because
that's quite the accomplishment. It really is.
Exactly, because the Patriots and the Steelers are tied with 6 Super Bowl rings. And if Tom Brady was to win this ring with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that will solidify him with 7 rings and as the goal of the entire NFL. To me, he's already the goal. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers just because I feel that Tom Brady is going to play really hard because he knows he's one game away from making history. And we all know that Tom Brady is a history-making guy. I obviously know that you're going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Let's pull some numbers out. They're favored by 3.5 points. I'm going with the Buccaneers, and I'm going to go favored by 3 points.
I'm gonna go. Last week I went with the Rams, and I said that they had them at 6.5 the game, right? And I said personally that I was going to take it to a full 10. It's going to swing. It's going to be close in the beginning, but it's going to swing hard either way. So what was the score? 17-32?
32, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty close. So, and honestly, I'm gonna reckon that this is probably gonna stay strong at 3.5, and I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Yeah. This is gonna be a battle right here that I'm excited for. I'm glad that this is the first game. I would have loved it for it to be the late night game. Just because it's the battle of the 12s. It's two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, the legendary quarterbacks at that fact. But why not start it first and get the championship weekend?
Thing, I'm glad you can agree with that.
Yeah.
So let me begin with the small stuff with the Bucks real quick. I didn't go too hard with the Bucks, but I got some numbers for you here. I'm gonna start with the Bucks defense. At least as far as their rush defense, it's second in the league in sacks. With what do they got? I think it's 48, maybe in the 50s. I don't know. Nope, we got the Bucks defense 3.6 yards per carry. They're number 1 in the league for that. They yards per game 80.6. That's the average for them, and that's number one league in the league. As far as the rush and whatever, they like to blitz 38% of the time, which is 6th in the league. Okay, against the Packers got rushed. Let's see. Nope, never mind. That's not them. This is still the Bucks. All right, so they're 48 sacks for the year, 116 QB hits, which is not bad. That's not bad. That's a defense just working.
Yeah, exactly.
6th in the league for as far as dishing out the blitz. Number 1 for yards per game. Number 1 for yards per carry when it comes to the Bucks defense. So that's a pretty stout defense, even though the Packers just came off a game facing the number 1 defense. Their number 1 defense last week's game, they had no sacks against the number 1 defense. Yeah. Packers offenses had no sacks. That's outstanding, honestly. Rodgers throws for almost 300 yards, 2 TDs, 108 passer rating. Not bad to face the number 1 defense. He averages just over 8 yards per carry. 8 yards per attempt per throw against the number 1 defense. The Bucks defense is actually 16th in the league, I believe. We'll run down their numbers in a sec. Last week's game for the Bucks, their pass defense held Breeze at 40% passer rating. I don't know if that's because his arm is going and they got a little extra, but That's against a guy like Breeze to hold him at a passer rating of 40 is great. 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, and during the regular season, they were 21st in the NFL when it came to defense. That's what it was. They're 21st. So their best defensive game obviously was against us during Week 6.
Yeah, and actually, I want to get to that for a minute real quickly. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the Buccaneers this season are the only team this season to hold the Packers under 20 points. With every other team that they played this year, they scored over 20 points, and the Buccaneers defense, for some reason, knew exactly how to play well against the Green Bay Packers. They actually had a really solid. So they had a good defense last weekend. I don't know what it was. Like you said earlier, I forgot the number that you said. I think there was 14 that you said that they were on defense. The Buccaneers.
No,
we'll get
for the year. For the year, they're 21st.
See, yeah, so they're 21st, and then they show up last week and
So,
show that
yeah.
they were like a dominant defense. And that's the thing that I like is you can turn your defense around.
Yes, at any moment.
At any moment, from the regular season to playoff, your defense knows that when the playoff starts, you know, like every other coach say, defense wins you championships. I even say a defense wins you championships.
Yeah, I say it too.
And Bruce Arians, being Bruce Arians, I know for a fact he said to his defense, "This is your guys' moment. Defense wins you championships. Now that we're in the playoffs, you guys are going to go down as the defense to say we won the Super Bowl because our defense stepped up."
That's right, and they can do it. That can actually be done. There's been a few Super Bowls that's actually been won strictly off of defense. The most recent one, in the best example I can think of at this time, is the Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning. His second, is it a second ring? It was a second ring, right?
It was the second.
Yeah. The score was like 13 tops, and they happened to win. He didn't do anything. It was defense that won that whole game. John Elway put together a great defense, and he said it at the beginning of the year that this is what's going to win the game, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Even with the Super Bowl, I believe Super Bowl 53 with the Patriots and Rams, that final score came down to 13-3. One of the lowest Super Bowl scorings in history. That was honestly, to me, a defensive Super Bowl, that entire thing. Nobody could have scored on either side of the ball. It was like a field goal marathon, but somehow the Patriots sneaked by and got that rushing touchdown with Sony Michel.
Right. Back to the Week 6 game. The defense for the Bucs holding Rodgers holding the Packers under 20 points, and holding Rodgers under 40% passer rating. That's actually his worst passer rating in a long time. It was actually under 40. It was 38.5. Again, 2 picks. So I know from Rodgers, that's like Brady getting like a 12 or something. 2 pick. Rodgers only threw 5 picks all year. 2 of them in which came from that game. Rodgers has only been sacked. It's here. I got it somewhere. He's only been sacked 4 times this year. 3 in which came from that game. In Week 6, yeah. And here's an interesting fact. Here's an interesting fact about Rodgers' numbers. You ready for this one? Rodgers' career numbers for touchdown to interception ratios. You ready? 412 touchdowns, 89 interceptions. So his touchdown to pass interception ratio isn't even 4-1. As far as his career goes, it's 4, and maybe I'll throw 1. If you do that number, 412 over 89, it's 4 touchdowns and maybe a 0.5 of a chance of me throwing. The next person in line ain't even close. It's you throw 3 touchdowns, you're definitely throwing 1 interception. That's the next person in line. So as far as that, I trust him with the ball. I don't think turnovers are going to be a problem, and that's the other thing that was specified, that the Packers don't turn over the ball. And when opportunity comes, they do take advantage of it. We are number 1 in the red zone. Number second in third downs. Only 21 sacks allowed all year. That's second in the league. Points per game, they're number 1. Yards per game, They're fifth. Turnovers in the game, they're number one. That's a great offense. It's hard to find a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
really
holes
is.
in it. It's hard to find a lot of holes other than maybe the run game. I mean, on the defensive end anyway. But the offense seems to be quite stout. And if you plan on just running the ball all day, which I think you can probably do on Green Bay, that's something they've been dreading all year. They rose to the occasion a couple times, but even after the Tennessee game, I'm still just not convinced. That if they lose, I'm convinced that would be the reason.
Okay, okay.
Um, let's talk about some injuries on the Packers end because we do have a couple. Zadarius Smith, he didn't miss last week's game, but he still has that broken thumb. Jamal Williams now has an ankle injury. I don't know. I think that's a day-to-day kind of thing. And one of our big playmakers, Alan Lazard. If you noticed last week's game, it wasn't Devontae Adams that was number one in the game for Rodgers. It was Alan Lazard. But he's out. He has an injury, wrist and back. Now I know something about
Ooh.
back injuries, and you don't want to play nothing. You don't want to do nothing with a back injury. Maybe the wrist,
Yeah.
but then again, you're a receiver, so you don't really want to risk that. So I think all three of these guys are on a day to day, with the exception of Zadarius. Zadarius played last week, even with that thumb injury, so I think he's going to play fine. But Jamal Williams, he's a running back, and you got an ankle injury, and you got Alan Lazard, wrist and back injury. So,
Yeah, which
that's
is
something
it's
to
a
know.
smart move. It's a smart move for the Packers to sit them out anyway, just because if you guys feel strong enough and confident that you guys are going to beat the Buccaneers, I give him a 3 week time to even rest and get
Uh
prepared
huh.
and ready for the Super Bowl. So, but like you said, back injuries are no joke. Even myself, I have a couple back injuries,
Same
and it's
here,
really
man.
it's really no joke, man.
It's not. It's not. It's like having a needle go up the middle of your spine, depending on which way it goes, up or down, or maybe through your whole back and go down your legs. It'll put you down. It'll put you down by itself.
There's something I
Uh,
want to show you. There's something I want to show you real quick.
mhm.
Rob Gronkowski posted this earlier. I think you're gonna love it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Matter of fact, I
I
need
kind
you
of like
send me
it.
that. I'm gonna make that my background for a little while.
Yeah, you got the Buccaneers ship with the Lambeau Field, and they're ready. Winter's here.
Oh, I like
To the I
that.
like this.
Very
I
creative.
like
Stuff like that needs to be made more, especially just before an epic game is being just to be played. Um, let's go to we talked about the Buccaneers and how much they like to blitz. They're sixth in the league with 38%. 38% of the time they like to blitz. Check this out. The Packers have been blitzed 180 plus times this year. And again back to the numbers, they only been sacked 4 times. 180 times blitzed against, but they've only been sacked 4 times. And I don't really know about the QB hits, but again, against Rodgers, a QB hit ain't really worth even talking about. So
right.
the sacks only 4 against 180 blitzes. Now that's the offensive line speaking some work. I think those guys deserve a big steak dinner, maybe 2, even if they don't make it to the Super Bowl. um, we got, let's see, Rodgers only threw 5 picks this year. Yeah, he only threw 5 picks this year, Rodgers, and 2 of them were in that game. What else we got here? Last played. Okay, let's talk some other numbers. Last week's game with the Rams. Still, I'm still on the Packers. Last week's games with the Rams. We're gonna keep the Bucks defense in mind when we're talking about all this. Adams numbers last week. Great player, number 1 in the league, I would say, as far as receivers go. Only 10 targets, made 9 receptions, which is good. 9 receptions, but
Yeah.
only got 66 yards. That's not really saying too much about what you did for the game. 1 touchdown, where Jalen Ramsey was very mad. I think we all saw that.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
the cream of the crop for the team though last week was definitely our boy Lazard. That's why I'm dreading him being injured this week because he was a question. I had questions for him going into the Rams game. Is he going to be that secondary person that's going to be able to step up and provide the productivity that they're going to need to move on and become not just a good team but a great team? you know. So last week he got 8 targets, 4 receptions. So he dropped maybe half or maybe missed half, but it was over for 96 yards. He only had a C note for the whole game, but 1 touchdown. I see a balance. I see a balance being distributed amongst how we're going to score. A lot of teams don't do that. They like to either air it out or they're going to rely heavy on the run game or maybe even special teams or defense, you know?
Right.
But this seems to be a formula that is chaotic, that is actually working out pretty well. You know, it's like Oprah, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, everybody get a touchdown kind of thing, you know? So Tanyan and MVS, though, those are the 2 wild cards for the game. Plus Aaron Jones, I think, is going to be a good contributor for the game as well if Rodgers don't have to work so much. Tanyan got 11 touchdowns for the year. He didn't score last week. I don't think. Did he score? No, he didn't score last week. Right? No, he didn't. And MVS, he scored once or twice last week. Aaron Jones, he's 5 for 5, 5 yards definitely on every carry for the year. So if he gets the ball, you're going to get 5 yards out of him. That's halfway of where you need to be for a first down. That's going to matter. That's going to be a big part on what they're doing because their rush game is going to, I think, is going to actually improve. They were, I think, like last week versus the Rams was a good chance to get a look at what exactly the run game is going to look like for the Super Bowl. What they wanted to try all year, but they couldn't. You know, you have to test these kind of things out, and unfortunately, there wasn't really no preseason. I think, right? Was that last year or this year?
No, there wasn't no preseason.
Preseason. So you can't really test that out. So you have to test that during the games, and there's not too many games where you want to be testing a strategy out. You know, you got all kind of teams that'll take advantage of you if you mess up. So.
Right.
I think last week where they finally said, okay, we feel confident in our rush to hand it off to somebody else other than Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, and you get yourself a 3-headed monster to kind of help you through the game. Jones last week, and this was a 3-headed monster. Jones last week received 14 rushes for 99 yards, averaging 7.1 for the game. Which is actually pretty good, honestly. I'm not gonna say it ain't bad.
You know, that's amazing to do that on a number 1 defense.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Thank you. I see. That's why you hit 1 touchdown though.
1 yard on a number 1 defense it's crazy, especially with a number 1 defense who has Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, yeah. So, we keep forgetting him, but yeah, that's what I got so far. The wild cards for this game for me, at least on the Packer end, is going to be Tanyan, MVS, and our defensive backs. I think we have one of the best defensive. Well, as far as a crew goes, the defensive backs go on the Packers. I think we got some of the best. Shut down for Jair and shut down for Kevin King.
It's going to be an amazing game. I can't wait for tomorrow. And like I said, I'm glad that this is going to be the first game. I do want it to be the late night game, but you know what?
That's what I wanted.
Why not start off the championship weekend with a strong bang and get like I said earlier, the Battle of the 12s done and over with. You know, it's going to be a showdown. The Packers are favored by 3.5 points. We both are saying, you know, I'm picking the Buccaneers by 3 points. You're picking the Packers by 3 points. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for this game. Tune in tomorrow on Fox Nation in the house over here.
Yep, Fox Nation represent.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Lambeau facing the Green Bay Packers. Battle of the 12, 2 of the greats, 2 of the legends at that. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. And whoever wins out of that game is going to face up against the teams that we're actually going to talk about next, and that is your Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, yes.
The Buffalo Bills sitting at the 2nd seed, traveling to Kansas City, your Super Bowl defending champions. Kansas City Chiefs, matter of fact. The Chiefs are favored in this game by 3 points. It is the late night game, starts at 6:40. It is live on CBS. I thought it was going to be on NBC just because CBS is hosting the Super Bowl this year, but I guess not. So it's actually going to be on CBS. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, honestly, just because I feel the Buffalo Bills are stronger and hotter. And look what the Chiefs did last week. You know, we've been saying it for weeks and weeks now. The Chiefs hasn't been looking like the Chiefs since late October. And
they haven't looked like the championship Chiefs since late October. Good analysis.
So and the Buffalo Bills have just been, outstanding. They've been amazing this year. They're an elite team this year. Josh Allen is playing at an MVP caliber level. And Stephon Diggs looking like he did a great thing by leaving the Minnesota Vikings and traveling to Buffalo because he became the top guy in the wide receiver position in Buffalo. Or actually, shall I say, in the entire state of New York, because he's better than the receivers in the Giants and the Jets, in my opinion, this year.
Well, he's on a real New York team. Let's put that out there. I mean to cut you off, and let's put that out there. This is actually a real New York team because one, they actually practice and play in New York. They're the only real New York team that does that. The Giants don't practice and play in New York, and neither do the Jets. So I don't really consider them a real New York team, even though the Giants is the representation of New York. Whatever. This is the real New York team.
I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna say anything or anything like that. I'm gonna leave it to the Packer fan to say that. So any comebacks or anything like that from all you Giant and Jet fans, take it over to this guy over here on my right. Yeah. But I'm not gonna get into that. But I am gonna choose the Buffalo Bills just because they're repping the AFC East. They defeated my team twice. And like I said, I want to see a Super Bowl where this is going to be most history in the making, because I want to see the Buffalo Bills go up against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, and that's going to be a Super Bowl history right there, where you have the Buccaneers representing their home field in the first time ever Super Bowl, and then you got, if the Buffalo Bills win, they could win their first Super Bowl ever in team history. So going back to the 90s, the Buffalo Bills did go to the Super Bowl 4 straight years in a row, and actually losing all 4 straight years. They should have won at least 2.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, they should have at least won 2 Super Bowls, but they didn't. They let the Giants come back, and then they let the Cowboys come back.
2. They should have won at least 1.
Yeah, they should have at least won.
I'm sorry, Bills fans.
They had one of the great quarterbacks too at the time, and Jim Kelly. So So it's real shock to hear that back in the 90s they went to 4 straight and not win it. But like I said, I'm a person that likes to see history in the making. I don't care who wins it. I'm a sports guy at the end of the day. Yes, I'm a diehard Patriot fan. I want to see my team win it at the end of the day. But we won 6 Super Bowls. I've witnessed all 6 of my team's Super Bowls. We had a great 20 years. Exactly. We had a great 20 years in our dynasty with Tom Brady. Now it's time to rebuild. And now I think it's time that I'm okay with stepping aside for a little bit and witnessing histories with other teams around the league, and seeing new things change in the playoffs. When can we ever say or see that the Buffalo Bills make it to the AFC Championship games? We've never seen this before, unless you were really
50 years old. Like 40, 50 years old, only then would you have seen it. I don't know. I'm 33. I ain't seen it.
Exactly. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills just because, like I said, I want to see a history Super Bowl. I want to see the Bills versus the Buccaneers. I am gonna go with the 3 points, just because I feel that this is gonna be a close game as well. Let's go ahead and see who you're gonna pick, and your reason why.
Well, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with the Bills on the AFC side. Again, like you said, the Kansas City Chiefs have not been looking like the Kansas City Chiefs that won last year's Super Bowl. At least in recent days, they haven't looked like that. I think they have found, I'm going to call it mojo with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Then they have quite, a couple of names that are definitely, I'll take them as my secondary receivers. Cole Beasley. That was a good move leaving Dallas, leaving McCarthy behind or whatever. But I think that they found their mojo or their rhythm, even if it looks chaotic. A constant QB running that doesn't look like he can really run, but he does. He can run.
He does. He gets yards.
And as a matter of fact, their run game isn't even all that great. The last game they played, they ran for 68 yards. Half of it being for Josh Allen.
They also lost their running back in Moore. I think his name was. I think his name. He did get injured. He did get injured last week, but they still got Devin Singletary, which is their.
That's who I'm worried about. I think I know Moore's pretty good, but I think Singletary is untapped.
Yeah, Singletary's on another level. If those of you don't know, there is games where Singletary don't look so good, but Singletary is a good running back. Devin Singletary is one of those running backs to look after. And he's gonna show up tomorrow against the Kansas City Chiefs. This game is gonna be fantastic. I can't wait.
We got quite the years. I think people don't really realize what kind of golden age of quarterbacks we're actually in. We've been actually pretty blessed to witness all the quarterbacks, not just the ones that are in our divisional rounds. Think about the ones that are in divisional rounds. These are all big names. And then if you think about the year we had, if you get COVID aside and whoever was missing, the quarterback names are filled and going to let you know that the quarterbacks are going to be here for the next at least decade. With Lamar playing, Mahomes playing, Josh Allen. You got a couple of other people. I don't want to go down the list, but this is the age of quarterbacks. And it hasn't been like that for a long time. Right. I mean, Brady has been here for X amount of years, but I'm talking about even at his beginning of his career and before that, there wasn't an abundance of quarterbacks. We got Breeze, we got Rodgers, we got all these guys, man. You know, all these great quarterbacks that make these numbers seem like this is regular average numbers. And little do we know that when these guys leave, you won't see these numbers. Let me put Patrick Mahomes in perspective. He's a great quarterback. He's been in the league 3 years. 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And he's pulling numbers like he's Aaron Rodgers. He might even be throwing and have numbers at this moment better than Aaron Rodgers. But the thing is consistency. Can you put them numbers on the board for 10, 15 years? You know? Can that happen? Can you consistently put these 4-to-1 ratios up or 3-to-1 ratios up or your passer rating is always above 100 for 10 years strong? Can you do that? And not only that, can you win championships behind it? Not just Super Bowl, but Super Bowls as well, but championships itself. Can you do these things consistently? And the answer, honestly, as far as history has shown us, is no. If a person is going to make these kind of numbers, you know, and let's do Tom Brady too. You know, if you're going to make Tom Brady numbers or Aaron Rodgers numbers, you probably only do it for a good 5 years. Either you're going to get injured or your team's going to switch up and you got trades happening and something's just not clicking anymore. You haven't seen this in history. You haven't. This is the first time this is really actually happening. You know, what is it? Joe Montana before. You had Namath, Staubach. Those names are, you know, separated through history, but they're there. And they got good numbers or whatever. But we're in a golden age of quarterbacks. We really are.
Yeah, we're gonna see amazing things in the future. These quarterbacks that are coming up, man, they're gonna take care of the NFL the coming years, you know, 20, 30 years from now. Even the quarterbacks are gonna be coming up in this upcoming draft, you know, and Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and stuff like that. The NFL quarterback position is going to be solidified throughout the next couple decades, and don't forget, and I'm gonna, you know, and I got some Cleveland Brown fans out there too that, you know,
Baker.
Yeah, don't sleep on Baker Mayfield. Look,
I'm not.
You know, he had a rough couple of years his first couple of years, but that's because he didn't have really good head coaches. You know, now that he's got a good head coach and he's got an actual team behind him.
Yeah,
you know, Baker Mayfield's going to do something next year. I see him doing something in the AFC North.
Oh yeah. What about Beckham? Do you think you go back there?
Beckham? No, I don't see Odell Beckham Jr. going back to the Cleveland Browns. I do see the Cleveland Browns probably trading up for a higher draft pick, or even maybe trading him for or even a lower draft pick. Who knows? Because Odell Beckham Jr. isn't the same Odell Beckham Jr. from the New York Giants, honestly.
No, it's not.
Since he had his first injury a couple years ago, I see that he hasn't been the same.
Right. He made that incredible catch. I'll never forget it. I seen it when it happened. That was a good catch against the Dallas Cowboys. But they've done well without him. I don't see them re-signing him. It's a big a big salary cap. They could do much better. and enhance on where they fell off this year with that salary cap. That's what I would do.
Yeah, if I was Bill Belichick, I'll just bring him to the Patriots. Why not, right?
Ooh.
Try him out.
But you need a new quarterback though.
Get a quarterback. Sign Odell.
Watson. Take Watson.
I would love to see Bill Belichick do a surprising thing and trade for Deshaun Watson. That would be amazing.
I think that right there would put the Patriot back on the Patriot way.
I would be excited, but if we want Deshaun Watson, Bill Belichick's going to have to give that guy weapons, and he's going to have to do something that the Houston Texans didn't do, and that's actually listen to the man. And we all know that Bill Belichick does not listen to people. He does the things that he wants his way. It's the Bill Belichick way in the Patriots organization.
I'm glad I have an insight more on that because when you get a chance, I want you to look up Deshaun Watson's actual numbers. His numbers are actually really good. A few of his games were 500-yard games passing. I'm telling you, man. If he gets if he gets to the Patriots and they have decent players still, like Edelman and all them guys, Hightower maybe. Hightower got traded, right?
Dante Hightower, no, he's still on the Patriots. He just he took this year off because of COVID reasons. He was one of the 8 players on the Patriots that didn't play this year.
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson going there and putting up those kind of numbers, that'll set the Patriots exactly where they need to be back in the driver's seat, running the whole NFL league again, putting everybody on notice.
While I'm looking up for Deshaun Watson's stats, actually, I'm glad that we actually brought that up because actually it's one of my segments. Will Watson leave the Houston Texans? And it's amazing that we're talking about that because I actually think he will be leaving the Houston Texans, in my opinion.
If he doesn't, he'll be abusing himself. I would find a way to quit or get traded something because they got to reconstruct the whole thing too. The Texans, they're good, but they got to reconstruct.
Watson had a great year with no weapons. He did well. Technically, Watson did have weapons, and everybody's sleeping on them. He had Will Fuller, Fuller, the fifth. He also had Kenny Stills for a little bit. And he also has some running backs. So he has some weapons. He just didn't have Deshaun Hopkins.
Yeah, it's just not a whole team. I feel as though he's probably in a position that Rodgers was in back in 2016, 2017, where the numbers were low for him and we didn't even get past 6 games.
Exactly. I'm glad that we brought that up because that was actually one of my segments, and I'm glad.
Since we're on the Texans, how about TJ Watt? Will he stay?
I do see that TJ Watt's last year on the Texans. Yes,
he is kind of the face of the franchise. He is kind of the face of the franchise.
Tom Brady was the face of our franchise.
Yeah, anything could happen. Anything could happen, I guess, huh?
And you know what? I don't see any bet or any money I can see TJ Watt, or I'm sorry, not TJ Watt, JJ Watt. I can see JJ Watt doing something and trying to go to the Steelers and forming.
My bad, JJ Watt.
Forming up the 3-brother alliance because you got TJ in the Pittsburgh and you also got David, who are their fullbacks. So. You already got 2 of the Watt brothers on the Steelers. Why not get JJ on the Steelers as well and have both of the Watt brothers on both ends of your defensive line? That would be amazing to me.
There would be so much chemistry there. They don't even need to really tell them the plays if they're on the field at the same time. They're brothers. There's a connection between brothers you just can't measure. So if they do that, that'd be something really, really great. Steelers will be in program again.
Patrick Mahomes is active tomorrow versus the Bills. There was a lot of questions on if he will play or if he will even pass concussion protocol, but he did pass concussion protocol yesterday fully. He was still practicing throughout the week, and I got the final news that he is active against the Bills. He will start this Sunday night.
That still doesn't really change my my prediction. I still am gonna roll with the Bills. Now in this game, it would be experience versus desire. Okay, we got Mahomes has been there, and the rest of his company has been there, has done it, and they know what to do and what's expected. But is that enough to go against a desire to actually want it more than the next person? This team is very hungry. A bunch of young studs on the team. They're not old. They're not. That whole team is really young. And you know how it can how it can happen in a blink. 1 minute, one quarter, second quarter is neck and neck, and then the third quarter, the whole game's turned around and wind is out of your sail. So I'm still sticking with the Bills, even if Mahomes is active.
I'm going with the Bills as well, but everybody's also, just a little bit of reminder. Yes, it is the Chiefs versus the Bills. It is Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, but let's also not forget it's Sean McDermott versus
coaching Andy Reid. That, and you know what? That's the thing right there.
It's the coaching. At the end of the day, we got to see Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott, who's going to do the better play calling. This game can come down to a turnover or who makes the final mistake on this game.
Right. Back to the NFC side of the game. We'll keep talking about the coaches, and I want to get to the coaches and the quarterbacks. Matter of fact, because this was something that I was looking up. Somebody had mentioned that the two quarterbacks, as good as the coaching may be on either side, the Bucks or good or ain't good, you're gonna have to do a lot in this game. You're gonna have to switch up a few things, and between these two quarterbacks, there's nothing that these two haven't seen before. As long as they've been in the league, there's not too many niches and switches that you could, adjust during the game, especially on the defensive end. Is not too much of it that they haven't seen already or know how to counteract. Especially Brady being six-time champion. There's a reason he's six-time champion, especially in a hot spot like his last ring was. That comeback was crazy because, again, there's just not too much that either one of these guys haven't seen before. So they know what to do when they see certain situations or any situation, really. That's how good they are. Great they are.
And for those of you who don't know what Tom Brady rings look like, here's what they look like in firsthand. They look like this. Just so everybody knows, this is what Tom Brady's rings look like.
Man, those are nice. Those are nice.
Whatever quarterback next wins us a ring in the future, they're not going in this box. This is the Tom Brady ring box right here.
Yes. So I'm still sticking with the same predictions for AFC, and it's a tough call. I'm gonna stick with my Packers, but if I wasn't a Packers fan, I'd have a whole headache right now trying to figure out which team to go with.
Right. Really quickly, let's go back to Deshaun Watson. His career stats for completions, he's at 1,186. For attempts at 1,748. That puts him at a QB completion at a 67.8%. His total yards, not too bad. Yeah, his total yards is 14,539 yards, averaging 8.3 yards a pass. I'm pretty sure how you say it. With the total, this is pretty amazing too for a quarterback who's been in the league for I don't know, I want to say the same amount of time as Patrick Mahomes, 4 years. He has
maybe a little longer.
104 touchdowns and only 36 interceptions.
That's pretty good. That's 3 to 1. That's definitely 3 to 1. Or 3 and 1.
77 yards was the longest pass he's ever thrown. And his total everything RTGs is 104.5. So Deshaun Watson is a caliber player. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick is looking at that like, okay, what can I do to acquire Deshaun Watson? Because
what about this year? What about this year? Because those numbers speak for his career numbers, and you got to remember most of his career was with Hopkins. You can't miss with Hopkins, So when you take away Hopkins, which would be this year, them numbers say a lot. I want to get to those ones. Those ones are going to tell you exactly what kind of player he is.
This year, he threw for 382 out of 544 with a completion of the 70.2%.
There we go. You see how much that better that is?
4,823 yards this year, averaging an 8.9 passing per yard. 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and our 77 longest touchdown pass was actually this year to Will Fuller. I remember on Thanksgiving night because that helped my fantasy league out. And this year he threw for RGD this year is 112.4. So it looked like he did actually better. It actually looked like he did better this year without Deshaun Hopkins than with Deshaun Hopkins. I'll pull up his stats for 2019 just to get the difference on that one. But it looks like he did. Let's see, on 2019, let's see.
They probably still look very similar.
Yeah, it does look similar. As a matter of fact, yeah.
So he's not the problem in the team, as you can see. If one of the signature players ends up leaving, will his stats change? And the answer is no. His stats are actually pretty similar, and they're on the up and up end of being a better quarterback than most in the league now. What is it? What is his position now? Probably like 14th or 15th amongst quarterbacks.
Yeah, 15.
Look at that.
15.
Look at that.
Last year with Deshaun Hopkins, he did 333 completions out of 495. That's a 67.3. So last year he went 67.3. This year he went at 70.2. So he upgraded. He also threw for 3,852 yards compared to this year's 4,823 yards, which this year is the most passing yards he had in his entire career.
Let's go.
Last year his average was an average of 7.8. This year was an 8.9. His touchdowns last year and interceptions was a 26 touchdown to 12 interceptions. This year was 33 to 7.
That's better.
The longest throw. Yeah, exactly. The longest throw he did last year was 54 yards. This year he did 77 yards. He got sacked 44 times last year, but still got sacked 49 times this year. He fumbled the ball 4 times last year, fumbled it 4 times this year, and his RTG last year was a solid 98 points. To compare to this year, he had a 112.4. So this year he actually looked way better. He looked better this year than he did with Deshaun Hopkins last year.
Yeah, he's looking to get traded or something because he outperformed himself this year. His numbers this year are better than his whole numbers in his career as a whole for his career. His numbers this year are better than his career numbers, which is meaning that you're looking to get traded. And
oh, sorry everybody. Having a little bit of technical difficulties with Don right now. We'll get him back in a second when he is all fixed. But yeah, Watson, to me, it looks like he will be leaving the Houston Texans, in my opinion. Also, in Don's opinion, he did have a better record or did have a better season this year without Deshaun Hopkins than he did last year with Deshaun Hopkins. So a bunch of things to look at when with Deshaun Watson this year when free agency comes up. Let's see, is he ready to come back? Oh, he's still having technical difficulties. Just give him a second. Let's get to some comments. Antonio said he's leaving. He thinks Deshaun Watson is leaving. Yeah, Deshaun Watson is going to be ended up leaving the Packers, or I'm sorry, the Texans. Yeah, let me get to my next segment. Super Bowl 55. No matter who's going to be in the Super Bowl, you get to see the young quarterback versus the old quarterback. You got whoever wins in the AFC side, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, versus Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. This is going to be one of the greatest Super Bowls in my eyes. Whoever's going to represent it, both AFC or NFC side, it doesn't matter to me. I do believe that it's going to be Buffalo versus Tom Brady. And if that does happen, I do see Tom Brady making history, becoming the only player to have more rings than any team in the NFL, and actually winning the Super Bowl in his team's home field, which would be the first time ever. The future of the AFC is going to be amazing. A lot of great things are happening in the AFC. You got Josh Allen in the Bills. You got Tua Tagovailoa with Miami. And you got for those of you who don't know, Dwayne Haskins just signed a contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he might be the future after Big Ben, because I believe that next year will be Big Ben's final year in the NFL. I feel that he's going to retire after next year, depending if he could take the Steelers to the Super Bowl or not. So a lot of things happening in the AFC. You also got Lamar Jackson taking care of the Ravens. Like I said earlier, Baker Mayfield, he's going to do great things with the Cleveland Browns. I think Baker Mayfield is one of the greatest quarterbacks that the Cleveland Browns had in the past 20 plus years. So, a lot of things happening in the AFC, even in the AFC North. For those of you who don't know, you got, like I said, you got Big Ben still in the Steelers, backed up with Dwayne Haskins. And then you got Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. You got Baker Mayfield with the Browns. And then you got Joe Burrow with the Cincinnati Bengals. He did get injured this year. He will be back next year. But a lot of things are going to happen in the AFC side of the ball. So the future of the AFC is going to be really great. I do want to give a huge congratulations to Sarah Thomas. For those of you who don't know, Sarah Thomas is a official for the NFL. She had became the first female ever to officiate a Super Bowl in NFL history. So a big congratulations to Sarah Thomas. I'm hoping that she does great in the Super Bowl. She's going to be the down official, so she'll be watching all the downs, knees and elbows and stuff like that. So we're hoping that she does great on February 7th, Super Bowl Sunday. A huge thank you to Phillip Rivers. For those of you who don't know, Phillip Rivers has called it a career. He hung up the cleats, he put away the pads, and he took away the helmet. He has now retired from the NFL after 17 amazing years. 16 of those were with the San Diego / LA Chargers. And last year, his one and only year with the Indianapolis Colts. He had one of the amazing careers, in my opinion. He goes down in history as one of those quarterbacks who couldn't win the Super Bowl but still has some numbers, such as Dan Marino and stuff like that. I'm not comparing him to Dan Marino. Obviously, to me, Dan Marino is better than Phillip Rivers, but I'm just trying to say that Phillip Rivers is one of those quarterbacks that solidified himself as a great, just not that great to win a Super Bowl. So I want to thank Phillip Rivers. Thank you so much. It was great watching you these past 17 years. You did a lot of things for the city of San Diego and even the city of LA. Also for Indianapolis, trying to get them to the Super Bowl. You did a great job. Thank you, and I hope you and your family have a great life going down the road. I can't wait to see you get inducted into the Hall of Fame. You, sir, Phillip Rivers, are certainly can call yourself a first ballot Hall of Famer. Also, remembering Ted Thompson, I'm not big of a Green Bay Packer fan, but Ted Thompson was the former general manager of the Green Bay Packers. He actually was with the Packers when they won their Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe back in 2009 or 2010, I believe it was. I'm not really sure. I don't know much about Ted Thompson, but I do know that he was a Super Bowl champion. He brought a lot of great people into Green Bay. I'm pretty sure he was even the one who brought Aaron Rodgers into Green Bay. If not, I don't know. I'm not a Green Bay Packer fan. I just want to show my respect and remembering Ted Thompson. So rest in peace, Ted Thompson. I also want to thank, now that we're at the end of our show, Darnell backed out just because he having technical difficulties, and I told him it's okay because we're at the end of the show anyway. But like I said, on Saturdays, there's going to be football news with Frankie Cruz. Please tune in next week on Saturday at 1 p.m. as we discuss Super Bowl weekend. In 2 weeks' time, I will not be going live on Saturday just because I will be going live the following Sunday on February 7th, 2021, 8 a.m. to start time. Northeast Streaming Sports. We are calling it the Big Super Bowl Show. So please tune in on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. We will be live. It'll be a big Super Bowl show. Everybody that's presented with Northeast Streaming Sports will be on there. So you'll have your Mac and Jack Stewie podcast, the Philly Sports Guy live from Tampa, myself, Big Shaw, and much more. So please, guys, tune in on February 7th at 8 a.m. I know it's early. Most of you are going to be sleeping and stuff like that, so you guys can tune in after or anything like that. But please show your love and support to us. We're going to have a great show. It's the big Super Bowl show, so you don't want to miss it. Also, please thank you for stop by Northeast Streaming Sports, where we have all your latest sports all around the Northeast, such as your Cleveland, Philly, New York, Jersey, Boston, everything like that. Tune into Northeast Streaming Sports. You can get all your active and latest videos on everybody's podcast, including from the UK. I want to thank everybody from the UK representing Stu's Wrestling Podcast and also Powered 4 TV. Those are our UK people representing Northeast Streaming Sports. Please, guys, I highly recommend that you go and you visit their sites and you like their page and you follow them, because if you guys are huge wrestling fans, those are the guys that you want to be with and you guys want to see. Those guys are amazing. They interview real life, past and present superstars, WWE, AEW, WCW, all of that. So please go to Northeast Streaming Sports. You'll get all your latest things on everybody. You got the Philly Sports Guy. You got Mac and Jack. You got myself, Frankie C Sports. You got the Big Shaw Report or Big Shaw Sports Podcast. He's amazing. He's your Cleveland Brown, for all you Cleveland Brown fans. He's your Cleveland guy over there who represents the Browns. You also got TGI Sports with Keith Angle. He gives you all your news on your New York Yankees, even your New England Patriots as well. So, guys, take your time, go to Northeast Streaming Sports, and like our page and support our page. Please, like I said earlier, tune in February 7th, 8 a.m. The big Super Bowl show. I can't wait for that one. Thank you guys for tuning in to my first week. It's not my first week, but my first week of football news with Frankie Cruz. Tune in next week. I'll have another special guest determining on who will be making the Super Bowl. Do not forget tomorrow, first game of the championship weekend. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going over to Green Bay and facing the Packers, who are favored by 3.5 points. I'm picking the Packers by 3. Darnell was picking the Packers by 3 as well, followed by the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 3 points, but both me and Don are picking the Buffalo Bills to win that one. This one is going to be on CBS at 6:40, where the Buccaneers and Packers are going to be hosted on Fox at 3:05 p.m. Thank you, guys, and I cannot wait for tomorrow's NFC AFC Championship matchup. I hope everybody has a lovely weekend. Have a wonderful Saturday. Have a wonderful NFC and AFC Championship. If you guys haven't done so already, like I said earlier, I am now live and streaming from YouTube. So please stop on by YouTube, like Frankie C Sports page, subscribe to my sports page, and I'll give you all your latest videos, updates, and news on Boston-related sports and national sports as well. After football is over, I will be switching Frankie's football news with Frankie Cruz and switching over to basketball news with Frankie Cruz, just because basketball season is underway. Thank you, guys. I love you guys, and have a wonderful weekend.